Was Randy there less when you and me had a week of like, don't fucking put that at the beginning of the episode? I forget what you said, but you immediately afterwards told me, I know you're recording, don't put that at the front of the episode.
I can't remember what I was talking about.
Yeah, I forgot what you were talking about too. But I do distinctly remember you saying,
I remember
don't
that.
you fucking do that.
Yeah, something came out of my mouth and it was like, Nick, I can see the gears turning. Don't put that at the front of the episode.
He called me out too, because that was immediately my first thought.
You could see the look on your face. I'm like...
Episode 361 of the TV Dudes, recorded December 1st, 2021. Give me space. This week, it's time to give me some space. You give me a space show, like the 4th season of Star Trek Discovery on Paramount Plus, or the Cowboy Bebop live action show on Netflix. Or maybe you just need some distance from your family, your past, or your talkative new partner like Hawkeye on Disney Plus. Whatever the case, we'll get into it. Before we get to all that, I'm Randy.
I'm Les.
And I'm Nick.
And we're the TV Dudes. Before we continue with this week's episode, I think I should make clear, I listen to the episodes I'm not on. And I have a couple corrections
Why would
from
you do that, Randy?
the last couple episodes. First of all, very important correction. You do not have to send in requests for only anime when you want to do Patreon. I cannot stress this strongly enough. It does not have to be anime.
I must have misread that. I was looking at your notes and I was like, I don't know why Randy wants only anime, but okay.
Yeah, I want to clear the air on that one real fast. It does not have to be anime. In fact, we prefer it. Anime, no anime. That's great. Second of all, Queen Latifah on The Equalizer is not Batman. She is the Punisher. Get it right.
You heard that,
Okay.
Kyle.
and thirdly, from last week, Nick, you and Kyle were talking about something about Mark Ruffalo, where he gave something away at like a San Diego compound. I am the world's biggest MCU fan. I had no idea what you were talking about. So what was that story about? What did he do?
Oh, that was two different stories, actually. Me and Kyle were talking about two different things. There was one where it was a panel of them, and he basically spoiled Endgame, saying that everybody died at the end.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah. And you can go back and watch him and Tom Holland spoil it a bunch of times. Like,
oh, Tom Holland, that's just what he does.
Oh, were y'all discussing the fact that they literally, the Marvel gives both of them fake points?
Yes.
Like fake talkie points? Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
because they can't be trusted at all.
Yeah.
And I was talking about one with Don Cheadle and Mark Ruffalo in specifically having in an interview, and Mark Ruffalo's like, he got asked a question, and then Mark looked at Don and was like, should I give him a little something? And Don Cheadle looked at him and was like, it's your career, dude. Like, like literally, that's all he says is, it's your career, man. And he puts up his hands like, Disney, I tried. This isn't on me. I know how replaceable I am as the replacement for the last black guy in this
God,
universe.
man, you know Don Cheadle's like, man, no, don't do that. Okay.
Don't do that. Yeah.
I'm very aware of my position here.
Mark Ruffalo should be too. Like, yeah, neither of us are the first anything here.
Yeah.
You're like the third fucking Hulk, bro.
Yeah.
You're a CGI character most of the time. We could get rid of you like nothing.
We're gonna replace you with your cousin anyway, so
You know, it would be an interesting law case as Mark Ruffalo sues Marvel for just continuing to use the Professor Hulk they built.
Well, Tom Holland at least has the excuse of the Blue Fairy made a puppy a real boy, and like was like Mark Ruffalo. I'm like, you're a grown ass man. Like, shut up.
I mean, like a lot of people don't know Grant Gustin died 2 years ago. Flash has just continued on with a full CG. I'm kidding. No, this is going to be an Avril Lavigne type thing that I started.
Well, judged by his performance in the latest season, I was
trying to cut him some slack there, but no, they're all alive and they're just doing that show on purpose.
that's just unfortunate. Yeah, it'd be really better for his career if he was dead and not doing the Flash.
It's unfortunate that Flash season is intentional. Yes.
Yes, it's real bad. Anyway, those are my corrections. And now I think it's time for us to talk about our TV diaries for the week.
The Diaries of the Television Dudes. Brought to you by only the finest cocaine wine.
I'm gonna go first because I've got a bunch of stuff. I have not been on this show for 2 weeks, which is very weird for me. And even though I was
And
out
you
of town,
wrote in your TV diaries on the thing for the 2 weeks you weren't on.
if I am nothing if not a fan of lists, Nick. I think we all know
Yes.
this. Yeah,
I was
kept up.
watching, like filling my own. I'm like, why is he writing in these?
Oh yeah, I love keeping up. I caught some movies. I caught No Time to Die, the last Bond movie, which I thought was fine. Which is
Oh, I'm 2 Bond films behind. I think now.
that's how I feel about all of the Daniel Craig Bond movies. They're fine. They're all about 45 minutes too long, and I feel like
Which means they're an hour long by less standards.
but by less standards, they're way too long. But having seen now from Casino Royale to No Time to Die, I feel like there was a cohesive story to be told that they didn't tell, and it definitely feels like I like look to the MCU. If you're gonna do a story, know what you're doing, lay out your beats, and don't try to make it have meaning later on because it just looks like nonsense.
It is kind of weird how Daniel Craig spends most of his movies, like from Quantum of Solace on, I want to say, to
Yeah.
not being Bond.
Yeah,
Like-
it's very weird.
He's either faking his death or retired or like trying to settle down and have a family. Like he is.
Yeah.
Even his character does not seem to want to be Bond ever.
Especially considering that we watched him get his 00 status
Yeah,
in his
yeah,
opening bid. Like this should have, like, Craig's Bond should have been the start of Bond, not like I've been doing this so long, I'm tired of this shit. Like,
yeah.
you're 41, Danny Glover, get back in
But
the fucking.
they did
ring.
do that. I mean, yeah, it's like it's
Well, by
basically
the third
he's
movie,
tired
they're
of it,
calling
yeah.
him old man, and it's
Yeah.
weird. Like,
Yeah, it's very weird. Anyway, I'm glad that he's gone on to a new franchise and is going to run the Knives Out franchise because that's where he belongs. Playing a Southern Fried Detective, I'm much happier with him there. He's good. There's some fun action. Don't get me wrong, this is not a bad movie, but I definitely felt like, I'm not the biggest Bond fan in the world, and this kind of stuff is why. There's some great action sequences, good songs. It's fine. I don't think I'll ever watch it again. However, on the flip side, I watched Red Notice in my hotel room in Dallas, streaming from my iPad onto their gigantic TV, which I think is bigger than the TV I have at home. And it was delightful. I loved watching Red Notice. I did not get a chance to listen to the Patreon. I know you guys watched it. In short, did you like or hate it?
Liked it.
Loved
I
it.
mean, it's total fluff. Like, what's not to love? It is also, I think, currently the most streamed movie in history.
Yeah, I think so. Well, I mean, it's
Because it blew
glorious.
out Netflix. It's Netflix's most streamed movie ever, which makes it the most, like, nobody
streamed
else has
movie ever.
streaming numbers like Netflix. So
It is gloriously dumb. I had so much fun watching it.
pitch
and
meeting on it is pretty much
pitch
pretty
meeting
fun
on
when they bring up
Oh,
the
yeah.
spoiler alert like immediately and
Oh,
go, and every time they hit something in the story, like, wait a minute, based on the end's twist, that doesn't make sense. Oh right, dang it! Did you
Yeah,
think I should
like,
change
why
it?
would they
Nah,
need
we
to
already
do, why
wrote
would
it
she
down.
have to do that? Like, who gives a shit? The
Yeah,
audience doesn't know it yet, so we need them to.
the pitch meeting was totally fun too.
Yeah.
Then let's see. I watched. I kept up with Top Chef Family Style, which is about to wrap up. I know I keep talking about this. It is weird to me, but Top Chef Family Style like really hit a spot for me that I really liked. Like it's very wholesome. It's the fun stuff of Top Chef without all the drama. I really dug it. I'm surprised how much I've been enjoying that show. I finished out Love Life on HBO Max, which I thought was good. Not great, but good. I finished out Doom Patrol, which I thought was really strong. I rewatched Shang-Chi now that it's streaming and decided I liked it a lot better on second viewing. Finished out Last Week Tonight, which really enjoyed. As always, kept up with Ghost, which I think is getting slightly better as it goes on, although I think I'm a couple episodes behind. And then I watched some of the behind the scenes stuff on Disney. So I watched Assembled, which is the behind the scenes of making of Black Widow and What If, which both were really interesting. They do really good behind the scenes stuff. I'm looking forward to watching the Shang-Chi one at some point. And then I watched Under the Helmet: The Legacy of Boba Fett, which was like watching a disappointing toy commercial. I don't know if either of you guys saw this. Like, it
No.
was like the whole point of it was like to talk about how Boba Fett was this stupid character and basically like cut the legs out from under how cool he's become, because they're pointing out like that he was a toy. They're pointing out how little screen time he got. They're pointing out and like
Wow.
and I'm like
It's
I'm
weird
like,
after
worst
the
bounty hunter
long time
ever.
it took them to get that character to a point where people give a shit like
Yeah.
to make a new series
Right?
about him.
Like, especially since Disney has wholesale like never admitted the fact that Boba Fett's lame as fuck
Yeah.
and like was only recently made cool.
I mean, this was called Under the
Outside of the
Helmet: Legacy of
501st.
Boba Fett. They could have called it Under the Helmet. Remember how bad Boba Fett sucked? Like, it's weird. Like, I was watching it and they're showing how the
really
original
enjoyed
armor
that.
was just like a stormtrooper armor that was all white that they had, and they were gonna make he was gonna be like an elite Republic or an elite stormtrooper commando, and they didn't have the money to make any more armor, and so they just became one bounty hunter guy. Like, it is the strangest. Like, it basically admitting that Boba Fett was a complete accident, and I'm like, guys, you're not supposed to say that out loud.
I
Like,
think
you're
this might
Disney,
be the
you're supposed
first
to know this.
behind the scenes Star Wars thing they've made that I am genuinely interested in watching.
It feels like someone was trying to pretend Boba Fett was cool for so long that when they finally nailed it and he didn't have to pretend anymore, like he just let that
The
weight drop
burden
off
they
his shoulders. Like,
dropped.
oh, thank God. We can all admit that before, like anything before 2021 was stupid, right?
Oh my God! How dirty is his rifle? What kind of fucking weapon discipline does Boba Fett have? It's terrible.
I watched the first 5 episodes of Hit Monkey, which we'll be talking about in a couple weeks or next week. I don't remember which I'm surprisingly enjoying. I know, Nick, you had some unkind words about the animation style, but I feel like it's basically Marvel's Archer, and I like it better than I like
I
MODOK.
hated it. It's like cheap Archer. Like,
Yeah.
Archer has better action sequences than this.
But it's interesting. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it in detail. But it's interesting because I think the thing you like, you're like, I like the premise, but I hate the animation. And I'm like, I hate the premise, but I like the execution of it. And I think
okay.
a lot of it.
Wow,
We'll talk next week. But I think a lot of it is basically that Ted Lasso is the monkey's mentor, and I'm like, I'm good with that. Ted Lasso is a hitman. Yeah, sign me up. We'll get more into that next week. I watched the first episode back of The Great, which Megan watches with me. She likes it better than I do, so I'll probably be slow to catch up on all that. But it was a fun episode back. And then I watched the first, I don't know, most of the first episode of The Beagles Get Back, which is really interesting and really long. I don't know if you guys have any in particular interest in that one.
I'm going to eventually watch it. I've heard mixed stuff on it, depending on whether you sat down thinking that it was a documentary that a person directed with some kind of purpose or point, or whether you just think it is like Anthology was, where like, I'm going to listen to 14 seconds of false starts of this song 50 times in a row.
And there's a lot of that.
Seems like it's that. Like, hey,
there's
do you want to watch them like Get Back in real time? Cool. But I've had a lot of people that were like, but I thought Peter Jackson directed this, which would imply some kind of editing and narrative structure.
Well, he basically put it together from footage. It seems like he did not. I don't feel like it's crafted. I feel like it's basically, if you're a Beatles super fan and you want to watch them make music, it's kind of fun. I'm enjoying
like
it, but
it's just shoved it onto the streaming.
It's like making a documentary with the actual impression of Paul McCartney. You just start a bunch of times, but then never really. What was I saying?
Yeah, it just looks like he uploaded everything. Like, no, edit nothing.
Put it all in. Yep. Beyond the homework, that's what I watched. What about you, Les?
Let's see. I of course watched Flash, just because.
Because you hate yourself.
Seriously, the texts you're giving me about Flash are like legitimately psychologically concerning.
The show is painful, man.
Like, you gotta like talk to somebody about this and get off of Flash.
It weirdly dovetails into the way I feel about the amount of anime that we watch too, because I feel like oftentimes it's like someone yelled a plot point abstractly at you, and you're supposed to later on feel like that plot point actually happened in a way that you understood in terms of character development or story or something. But like it. I frequently feel like anime is like reading the Wikipedia catch-ups on X-Men comics or something, and that's how Flash is of like, oh, you mean that to be a character beat? Okay, cool. That should have taken 10 minutes, but you just yelled both sentences at each other.
I'm actually glad you're
Moving
keeping
on.
up watching it week to week, because if you let these pile up, I bet you would try and binge it on a weekend, and you would break.
Oh, it would hurt.
It would just
be so
break
bad.
you.
Yeah, no, it is absolutely something to like bring you back to earth before you go check the news on a Wednesday morning. Yeah. So the Flash.
Yeah, you're a functioning Flashaholic.
Yes, functioning is the key word there. I don't watch Flash until 4 p.m. So Legends of Tomorrow continues to be a D&D troupe that is just getting to like control a show like that gamer movie or something, and remains fun. They killed off Constantine's gone off the show.
Oh, interesting.
And but they must have just really liked Matt Ryan, because they have, I'm not joking, they brought him in as a completely different character. And I don't think they're doing he's not secretly Constantine with no memory. He is a entirely different character. They just cast Matt Ryan but with a beard this time. And
Wait.
like some characters are like, he looks familiar. Yeah, Ray. He looks like Ray. And then they just move on.
Wait, I am very confused.
I'm not
Why-
joking. They just put Matt Ryan back on the show.
Why would you do that? Because Constantine is the reason to have Matt Ryan on the show. Like, why?
Because
why would
this
you
is
do
like
that?
drunk history, man. You just got a certain amount of actors, and they're just moving their mouths while your D&D group fills in the words.
I don't understand. I am very confused.
That's so weird that normally you get rid of a character because the actor does not want to be on that
Right.
show anymore.
Yeah.
But obviously that's not the case here.
Yeah, and they didn't run out of Constantine's story. I mean, it's not like they did the
So-
logical end of him or anything. Why not? Like, when I realized, like, oh my God, I don't think you're revealing any secret thing. This is just Matt Ryan in a different role. Also, Gary, who has had a possessed nipple that was bit off by a unicorn and all sorts of shit. He is now a full-on alien that puts on his glasses, and when he puts on his glasses, he like transmogrifies into a human being.
So was he always an alien or is now an alien?
Always an alien.
So his nipple that got bit off by a unicorn got sent to hell and then came back and possessed him when he got his wish granted by a fairy
It's
godmother.
not a hologram. His body turns human.
That
when
was
he
an
puts the
alien
glasses
nipple?
on. Yes. And if his glasses get knocked off, he aliens out.
So his
I,
alien nipple got bit off by a unicorn, sent to hell, brought back, possessed him when a fairy godmother granted his wish. That makes way more sense.
You got it. You got it.
That was bothering me the entire time.
Nick, I'm going to tell you what I tell you every week. We are not to Stranger Than Fanfiction yet. I know it seems like we are, but we're not there yet.
Man, I could pick any random episode of Legends of Tomorrow and do Stranger Than Fanfiction, and I bet you guys wouldn't even remember some of them. Like, oh
Les-
yeah, that was an episode.
Absolutely not.
Les
You can
would.
absolutely redo these. Half of all anime sounds the same to me.
Let me ask you a question, though. I want to be clear. I'm not the only one who has no idea who the fuck Gary is, right? Who is Gary?
Oh,
No, Gary,
yeah,
he's
no.
the main player since like
Yeah.
season 3 or 4, I want to say.
I
Yeah.
definitely stopped watching the show before that.
oh yeah, no, you should pick the show back up. Like, it's a lot to catch up on. It will melt your brain. Also, we
You
interviewed
stopped
the
when
actor
it got
that plays Gary.
good.
Yeah. Gary's the highlight of the show.
Oh my god. Okay. All right.
He's in an affair with the sentient ship. They had sex.
This is
Him and Constantine. Wait, they don't have sex because he has to be a virgin for another
thing,
ritual
yes.
to work.
I
So
swear,
Constantine's
I swear
absolutely
to
buying the
God,
show.
I don't know if you're making this up. This is what it feels like when Nick is telling me about Stranger Than Fanfiction.
they do play D&D though. Gary and
Yes.
Constantine play D&D.
Yes, there's an episode where they get stuck having to kill like 7 hours, and they play D&D.
Yeah, and Constantine
the
is like,
show.
"Why aren't you playing a spellcaster?" Like, why would I?
Yeah.
my head hurts.
And so I also watched 30 Rock and some Letterkenny, Parks and Rec. Great news. Just kind of went through the sitcoms because this holiday kind of sucked.
Yeah.
9 Perfect Strangers I finished up. That show's really fun. I absolutely hate the actual ending. Like the last 10-minute like wrap up where they all go was infuriating.
Okay, good. So that saves me having to catch up on that show.
Yeah,
Good.
no. It's awesome, and you'll be sitting there while the credits roll, going, "Fuck, there's like 4 other ways you could have done that, but not just sucked." Jungle Cruise, the Disney Plus movie with The Rock and Emily Blunt.
I watched about half of that and turned it off.
I really enjoyed
Oh,
it. I mean,
really?
it's better than Lone Ranger.
Their second
okay.
attempt at like Pirates of the Caribbean. Let's make a ride into a franchise.
It's basically Pirates of the Caribbean. It could have gone a little faster, but I enjoyed it. Also, Lisa had just gone to Disney World, and they do, I mean, the whole opening thing, like they do the ride at the start of the movie, but then they actually sew it into Rock's character that he makes all the bad puns and just keeps doing it. And so there's several moments where they're in some life or death, I mean, it's a Disney movie, life or death fight scene,
Yeah.
where The Rock makes a pun and somebody turns in like, not the fucking time. Like stop saying those. And he's like, I can't. They're puns. That's how puns work. Yeah, I really enjoyed it a lot more. Also, weirdly, blended in with the other classical guitar score kind of music. They just keep reusing the guitar intro for Nothing Else Matters, I think, by Metallica.
Sure.
And it's weird. I feel super old.
Oh,
That's
so we're
just
making
like
a Jungle Cruise movie. Well, let me get The Rock on the phone right now. What?
Right,
Why?
yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. He just
Like,
wants to know.
contractually required to be in a jungle. He's going to be in the background of the scene, whether you cast him or not. What are y'all doing? That part of Red Notice. We'll be out in a minute. All right. I also watched Fighting with My Family. I went on a bit of a Florence Pugh kick. Love to watch her frown. Fighting with My Family is also The Rock in a couple of bit moments
Yep.
and some bit moments with Vince Vaughn, but it's mostly Florence Pugh as the daughter of Lena Headey and Nick Frost, which is just fucking awesome casting. Like, I don't give a shit what happens in the movie. I was gonna push play on it.
I don't think that's how genetics works.
I don't think it is either. But weirdly, so this is a true story. I mean, this is a biopic based on a real person.
Right.
I don't know how true this story is. Amazon gave a few little weird tidbits when you moused over of like, this happened out of order. Like, nobody gives a shit. But I'm actually stunned by like how much of a giant mohawk wearing like mountain the real guy that Nick Frost plays is, and how kind of Lena Headey looking the mom and
Okay.
Paige from the WWE.
All right.
Florence Pugh's actually pretty good casting for that. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that movie. It's just kind of a like, aw shucks, heartwarming, will she make it? Turns out she does. So yeah, really enjoyed it. Also watched Malevolent, which is Florence Pugh in a horror movie. Bad things happen to everybody involved, but it's pretty fun. Basically, she plays part of a brother, sister, and a couple of their friends' crew that goes and cons people who think they're haunted. Like, oh, my sister has a gift, and then they do a bunch of shit to gin it up, and then she clears the house, and then they take your money and leave, right?
Sure. Okay.
If you're never fucking haunted in the first place, you're crazy. Only they run into an actual haunted house, and she actually has a gift, and things start getting really weird. It was actually pretty good. I had seen part of it before, but I enjoyed finishing it out. Also watched The Great season 2, episode 1, which is awesome. Return to form. I love that show. Looking forward to watching the rest. I just trying to not plow right through it. And then I watched Shang-Chi, which I enjoyed a lot more than I thought I would.
It's good, right? Like it's a.
I watched it in two. I mean, like every movie over an hour and a half long. It is too long. It is two different movies. There's magical dragon fight, and then there's like bus fight kung fu movie.
Yes.
And both movies were fun. It was just a weird gear shift. They don't think they really touched the clutch there. But I watched it in two chunks on my couch, and that's absolutely the way to do that. I no longer want to sit for 2 hours in any movie theater ever again. And that's it.
Nick?
Well, I guess it's me then. Well,
It
I
is.
continued my watch of Stargirl. I finally was trying to get through season 1 of that. Really liking it. I think the JSA are some great, doofy, kind of like silly heroes that are awesome. And
That's a correction I need to make from another correction. It's Our Man, not Minuteman. Minuteman is what you call him when you're trying to insult him.
Oh, right. Sorry, Our Man, right. Heck, that sounds dumber. Why is it Minuteman?
If he had power for a minute, that's barely having a power at all.
Okay, 60-minute man.
Strength! What? Shit.
Also Joe McHale as Starman with just the greatest death scene of like, and make sure you find someone that's worthy. Obviously not you. Not you for sure. No, you'd fuck it up. Somebody else though. Maybe someone much younger and irresponsible, but definitely not you. You're a loser.
I love Starman as a character. I think he's interesting, and I like Joel McHale, but the weird casting of Jeff Winger as Starman is so strange to me.
Well, that's why he's only in the one. Like,
Yeah,
he dies immediately in episode 1. I like that they do fucking the atomic robot thing. Like they have the.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously they have like Gorilla Grodd budget money on it with like, okay, we're gonna show him a couple times each episode, but the more you show him, the shittier he's gonna look. So he's got to stay for like the last 5 minutes.
Yeah. Stripe mostly stands in the garage and gets beat on a lot.
But Stripe is cool looking.
Yeah.
Oh, he
Yeah,
looks awesome.
I like Big Guy and Rusty vibe off of Stripe.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking Big Guy and Rusty. I haven't watched that in a long time. Yeah. The I also watched Young Justice to keep up on the superhero thing. They finished up the Cassandra Cain arc with or Orphan as her superhero name is, which I feel like is still a fucked up name for a superhero. Robin didn't call himself "My Parents Are Dead" boy.
Right.
It's
I mean, yeah. Like, how does Batman and Robin feel about somebody else being called Orphan?
like it'd be like if Barbara Gordon was like, "And I'm Cripple Woman."
Actually, Barbara Gordon should be, and I still have a dad woman. It's just like just a shit that the rest of the Bat family.
Like, what are your powers? She focuses real hard. Your parents are dead now. What? Orphan out!
Why?
I thought this was Legion tryouts. What are you doing?
Like, we're 6 episodes in on Young Justice, I think, this season, and it's still, there's no, like, Phantom team. We haven't seen Rocket or Zatanna at all. I thought
That
they were
is
supposed to be
weird.
heavily in this season.
They're in the credits.
They're in the credits, yeah. They're in the, like, the opening thing as far as the team, like, Young Justice, and then it shows
Yeah.
the team, and Cassandra Cain and Barbara Gordon aren't in there, and this whole story arc was basically about those people and Artemis and Cheshire.
Are they not weeping at the end credits on each episode?
They're still really sad about Superboy, which is weird because like I'm like, okay, did you all not like Wally as much? Because you didn't get this sad when Wally died or when any of your friends died. Because remember Artemis faked her death and everyone was kind of mad, but like were kind of like still doing their missions. Superboy is like, oh, it wasn't Superman that died. Like how many people of you actually have a relationship with Superboy? It's hard when they're the time jumps have made it hard to gauge what the relationships are like between these people. Because I really feel Superboy is only connected with the people he grew up with in season 1. But obviously that's not true because like Garth is totally depressed about it and like just sleeping all the time in his bed. And I was like, okay, I mean, I guess, but also it's weird because we know it's a fake out because the Legion of Superheroes didn't do anything after that first 2 episodes. So I'm like, okay, it's weird. You sold me on the Artemis death and then told me it was a fake out right after that, after I was convinced she was dead. Now I know Superboy isn't dead and you're trying to pretend like he is. It's really weird. This season seems inconsistent to me. There doesn't seem to be a very much narrative focus. I don't know what it's about. But yeah, I did like that Cassandra Cain got her time to shine. That was really cool.
So that's a favorite character of yours.
That is my downright, hands down favorite superhero.
Interesting.
Yep. She has my favorite backstory, the favorite power set as far as body language and the idea of not being able to talk and having to talk. Like they ruined her in the comics after a couple of years. Like they really fucked that up. But the initial run where she gets trained up and then like it's a reveal that she's Shiva's daughter and like she's the only one of the Bat family that's actually killed somebody. Like actually done it.
Red Hood, sir. Red Hood.
Oh, right. Sorry. But like does it and then doesn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah. It's interesting because you were saying I believe you're right that she is only the second Batgirl. I think it was Barbara Gordon, and then Cassandra Cain was the next Batgirl. Now there's been several since then.
Depends on if you count like the Bronze Age, like Batwoman and Batgirl, those two.
But that's sort of different.
Those.
I don't know. I feel like she was the second
I count
Batgirl.
that as a different universe. I think that she's second.
I also think that her name before she became Orphan, Grant Morrison changed it to Black Bat, which also is not a great name. But the problem is, once you've been Batgirl, it's kind of, this is kind of the Captain Marvel Monica Rambeau problem. It's like, I love Monica Rambeau, but they took away the Captain Marvel name, and none of her other code names are ever going to be as good. So you just kind of got to roll with it.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, Photon's lame.
Orphan's not bad, but it's better than Photon.
Orphan sounds neat, but in context sounds like so depressingly on the nose. Like,
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like a code name. It just seems like a dig. Like, stop calling me that. Is that not your name? No, fucking prick. Hey, orphan. Jesus Christ, I have a name.
I love Cassandra Cain and was resigned myself to never see her done on any type of TV screen or movie screen ever, because DC can't get its shit together and even give me a live action Robin on a movie.
Oh,
So
come on, Nick. She's already been done to perfection in the movies.
in the Birds of Prey movie, yeah, where they
Which
gave
she
the
was,
character the name and nothing else.
Yeah, she was a speaking person who was a klepto, and yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why they named her Cassandra Cain.
It confuses me that like I honestly had forgotten that was supposed to be this character.
I think they just did it because they can't have a character in a movie and not have it be a fucking deep cut character in DC. Like that's not how it works. Like no, they have to be somebody.
Even Christopher Nolan, I mean, like, why did Joseph Gordon-Levitt have to actually be Robin?
It would have made more sense if he was Terry McGinnis, actually. Anyway, what were we talking about?
I'm pretty sure
How
we're talking
bad
about
DC movies are. What?
But yeah, Batgirl original comic run, like the first couple volumes of that are really good. I would recommend it. Up until about the 52, where they jump 52 weeks, and then she comes back and she's an assassin for some reason again. I don't know. But I never got that. I watched The Muppets, trying to get through that season.
So that's your Flash.
Yeah, and I am studying it, trying to figure out why it doesn't work, and I do have some theories, but I won't make my general thesis statement until I'm done. But I did like, there was a moment where I like that Statler and Waldorf are still in the audience heckling Fozzie. Then Fozzie hits Statler with a fucking t-shirt cannon and puts him in the hospital. And I love, like, it's like, it wasn't because I was mad at him. Hecklers are part of the job. The part of the job that keeps you from liking yourself completely. And then Statler just keeps fucking with him from the hospital bed. Like, he will not stop. And it's very funny to me. I thought they nailed that.
I think this is further into that season than
I think I'm further in the season than anyone got.
The writers, anybody, the puppeteers.
It's irregulars all over again. Of like, I'm going to be the only one who actually
now.
finished it. I watched The Wheel of Time accidentally. By what I mean by that is that I didn't mean to watch it all, but I was doing something else on my computer and did not have the attention or care to change anything on the television.
It's as if you were destined, Nick. The wheel turns and you finish the show.
I guess we're going to talk about it in a couple weeks or something, but Wheel of Time did nothing for me. It is just flat. I was like, okay, I guess they're minotaurs and not orcs. I guess that's different. So,
I'm interested in seeing minotaurs now. You've successfully interested me more than I have been interested in Wheel of Time at all.
I don't mean to make a racist term for big fantasy novels like this, but white noise might fit.
Man, I'm gonna give it a shot, just because it's such a big thing and it's Amazon's one of their big things. But I have a feeling that what's gonna happen, we're gonna do that episode, and we're like, yeah, we all watched 15 minutes of Wheel of Time and gave up.
2 hours of it and don't care.
Oh my God!
Let's keep going.
Yeah.
Are they an hour long each? I feel like they are.
I don't know.
I think they're like 50 minutes or something. I cannot tell. They all bled into one another. Like, all the characters are like instead of having one chosen destined one, they have like 4 or 5 chosen destined ones that are like all generically, like, none of them are very distinctive. I was like, how? No, one of you has got to be interesting. On accident.
I think most people probably know the characters because at some point we all had a college roommate that read these books and complained about Matt.
I guess.
That's literally the one character that I knew was like, oh, you suck in the book.
I finished up Dragon Maid, the 2nd season. That's all that was out. I maintain that the show is funny, if not obviously anime problematic with some of its age of consent stuff.
If someone Patreon requires us to watch Dragon Maid, Nick, I am blaming you.
Well, I would, since I asked them to do that last week. That would make sense.
Yeah, I heard you daring them to get us to watch Dragon Maid.
Knowing that part yet, because I don't think Dragon Maid's real.
Les, someone is going to make us find out it's very, very real. And we're going to be very sad about it.
And then I watched another anime that may be on Stranger Than Fan Fiction this week, but
Oh.
that'll be for later. I watched He's Out There, a Yvonne Strahovski, like kind of like serial killer movie, stuck in a cabin. It had one really cool part in it. Everything, it was okay movie, but only one thing of like, instead of taking out the engine of a car, the killer did something that makes more sense and would be a lot easier, which is he just took a lug wrench and loosened up all the bolts on 2 of the tires. So when they try and leave, the tires just fall off the car and it almost flips over. I'm like, that would be a lot easier than trying to get into a hood of a car and actually like taking it out. Like that would, and it would be a lot less conspicuous and you could do it faster, I bet. And it's weird how that's the only time I've ever seen it in a movie or a TV show. And then I watched snake movies. Just snake movies.
I was really curious.
I watched Anaconda, Boa, Python, and then followed up with Boa versus Python. I would like to remind you that out of the 2 of us, Les has the worst taste in movies.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure that's true.
I am gonna hold on to this for a long time. You watched the Alien versus Predator of fucking snake movies, man.
Yeah.
Oh man! And what's worse is that I absolutely want to watch Boa versus Python now.
Now that I've said
I
it,
don't care about Boa or Python. But I want to watch Boa versus Python, especially if there's a sequel where they like destroy all monsters and fight Piranha 3D.
There is, it did show me, I didn't watch it, but it did suggest to me after I watched it, Piranhaconda.
What the Nick, what are you doing with your life?
Piranhaconda.
Wasting it. I'm so lonely.
Man. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at a picture from Piranhaconda and holy shit. That looks terrible.
Really? The name didn't give it away, you think?
Oh, it's so good, Nick. It's so good. Oh, we're watching the shit out of that. I might actually make use of like shared watch party bullshit for the first time in the entire pandemic.
Count me in.
You guys know that watching movies is not supposed to be a punishment for the people in your lives, right? It's supposed to be a group activity to be enjoyed together.
Movies can be a bunch of different things, Randy.
It's not supposed to be a dare. It's not.
Movies are more than one thing. They can teach us stuff, move us emotionally, and torture others.
Yeah. Don't limit Piranhaconda.
Don't put Piranhaconda in a box.
Michael Madsen's in it.
What? What?
Oh, we're watching this.
No shit. That's unfortunate for him, but great for us.
Something's fishy about this snake movie.
Oh yeah, I'm done. If that wasn't clear.
Oh, that's it. I didn't know if there was maybe more crazy snake movies or anime or shows about dragon maids. Okay, well, that's our TV diaries, and it's already weird. So Nick, let's make it weirder.
Imagine, if you will, a reality containing television programs so bizarre they are indistinguishable from the ravings of a madman. Is the show you are about to hear simply a fabrication in the mind of a man with clearly nothing better to do with his time? Or is the truth indeed stranger than fan fiction?
All right. Don't even remember whose turn it is. Like, I guess, Randy, since you've been gone 2 weeks, we're just going to make it your turn.
Yeah, sure. Why not? There are no rules.
Well, with anime, I doubt you'd understand any rules anyway. Your letters are Y and Z.
I'm going to go Z.
Okay. All right, so this show, guys, is about space exploration, which very fits well with our theme today. It starts off with a team trying to make first contact, very Star Trek style, opening up negotiations for this crew that are trying to find a new Earth for humanity. And they're trying to find a place that humans can live, and prosper and because we fucked up our own planet. You know the story, you know?
Mhm.
And I'm forgetting something. Whatever, I'll get to it later.
Is this just Treasure Planet? Is it Treasure Planet?
New. Well, and then they
Okay,
get
all right.
into so they, they're hopping from planets to planets trying to find different ones. They find a bug planet and get attacked from it. They have a weapons specialist, they have their science officer, they have their tech guy from the what is it? Oh, they're dogs. That's it. They're all dogs.
Sure. Uh-huh.
So the dogs have been genetically engineered by humanity to be not only their best friends, but their last chance to find a new home. So they're in Operation Fetch to go and find coordinates to a new planet and then bring them back.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So
It's only going to bring the coordinates as close as the moon, and then not drop it.
And then drop it. Yeah. No, all the way.
All the way back to me. Drop it.
No, all the way to the gravitational pull. God damn it. But yeah, they have a captain who is an upbeat dog that is missing his owner. It's been like 3 years since they've been in contact, and some of them think they've been abandoned. But he's not ready to give up the ghost. They have a security officer that's a puppy, and dual wields pistols, shoots everything. Like their science officer's trying to opening a door, and just the door panel gets shot out of nowhere, and suddenly this puppy security officer's like, haha, being smart's for idiots, and just starts blasting through like doors and aliens. They find another dog that's been out on the mission even longer than them and has been abandoned, and they go back to their port ship called the M-Bark, M-Bark, and solid. Like they have adventures going forward of trying to find these planets or whatnot, and some of the planets do work, except for that there's a sentient goo monster there, and they call him Gooey, and he would love to have them as neighbors, but he smells so bad, like, and the dogs can't stand it. So they're trying to actually just slightly like, would it be possible if you to leave this planet? And he does, but the problem is that he takes all the liquid with the planet with him, so it's actually a desolate planet now without him on it. And they fucked that up originally, and there's like a dog mech battle for entertainment, apparently, that one of the Chihuahua, the tech guy on the crew, wants to win so bad he develops an AI against regulation to win this mech battle. And actually, the AI begins to question its purpose, and I was like, oh fuck, here we go. And actually, the AI figures out what its purpose is I want to impress the captain and have him love me. Oh, gotcha. That's my purpose? Got it. And he purposely like brings out the best scenario so that the AI like, okay, I'm going to disengage, and so you can pilot the mech by yourself, because the only way you're going to win the captain's love is if you do this without me. But then you'll be gone. Like, yes, but my purpose be fulfilled. And so this dog mech thing gives up its sentience in order for it to win, only for it to come back later and disappear into the ethos as the Chihuahua like saves it.
Question: is that still dogfighting?
It's still dogfighting, yeah. The dogs are fighting each other in the ring. They're in the mechs, so it is dogfighting, but they're dog mech fighting.
It's the problem with dogfighting, I guess, one of agency. Like, if the dogs build robots to fight by proxy, is dogfighting still wrong?
Well, also they're sentient, so it's more like, we don't call boxing human fighting.
But we should. I brought my human and taped a claw to the back of his calf. Get in there, buddy! That's what Mickey did in Rocky. I haven't seen Rocky in a long time, but I assume that's what Mickey did, right?
Yeah,
they have a thing that updates their genetics so to keep them sentient and talking dog-like, and they fuck that up too, and they can create Cronenberg the fly monsters of like they're half dogs, half tentacle monster that they have to trick back into the teleporting thing by playing a game of fetch with it. one of them goes on a total tear, like, and tries to overtake the space station to turn them all back into regular dogs, because of the lack of faith in humanity, and tries to devolve them back and manages to succeed only to get mauled by a bunch of non-sentient dogs.
Sure.
So I think that was pretty much, yeah, it goes from there. It leaves off on a, they haven't found a planet, but it's going to go for a season 2, I think. And they are uh uh I don't know. I liked it. I thought it was pretty funny, so I'm hoping it gets a season 2. Guys, does this show exist? Like, is it exist only in my mind where I feel like my dog would be my best friend even in space? Or is the truth indeed stranger than fanfiction?
Les, what do you think?
I believe you made this up because Brundle Puppy's too good.
Brundle Puppy.
I also think you made this up.
Okay, any reason why?
No, I actually think I think it the dog mech thing sounds both too weird and not quite weird enough to be real anime.
I do love Scrappy Dude just changing TV channels like Homer with a pistol.
I'm like, I got an IMDb like web Wikipedia thing of like random, and they
What do your
also
Facebook ads look like?
fight with mechs. Guys, this show is real.
No shit. What's
What?
this called?
Yeah,
It
what's
is called, get ready for this, Dogs in Space!
Well, that's a bit on the nose.
And it's on Netflix. It is not an anime. It has stars Haley Joel Osment as the head dog Garbage, and what was it, Chris Parnell as one of the thieving dogs. He's an untrustworthy thief dog. And yeah, it's got a great cast of characters and is on Netflix right now.
Okay, well, I will definitely not watch that.
Oh, come on, it's pretty fun. It's Star Trek, but if they were dogs, Randy.
They look like the corgis in Infinity Train to me.
They're adorable. Oh, and also Chidi from The Good Place. What's his name? I forget the actor's name, but he plays Loaf,
William
who is
Jackson Harper.
who is their technical advisor that is stressed out and a paranoid all the time of everything going wrong. Like, oh goodness.
Go left. Wait, my left. Sage, left. I don't know. Keep going left. Oh, wait, that's just a circle. You're running in a circle. I'm sorry. Just run away from the alien.
Never mind.
Man, Chidi's really getting typecast in these roles.
He is. I'm glad he had Love Life to be a slightly different version of himself. So yeah. All right. Well, this seems like a good place to remind you that you can support us by going over to patreon.com/tvdudes. Throw us a buck an episode. In exchange, we get to keep up with our streaming services, pay for our hosting costs, and you get bonus content each week. This week, we're beginning our Tony Scott Marathon. Great Scott! With Beverly Hills Cop 2. And we'll be talking various other Tony Scott movies that at least Les and I haven't seen. I don't know if Nick has seen all the movies or not.
I think so. I think I've seen even Domino. I don't know if like anyone's even seen that. So
I
Oh,
own
yeah, I saw
Domino on
Domino.
DVD, sir.
nice.
We also have our $20 shoulder level, so if there are shows you want us to throw in the rotation, clearly does not have to be anime. Really shouldn't be. Doesn't have to be.
Could it be dogs? Could they be in space?
You can buy into that level. You can give us a couple of ideas, and we will watch those shows. It's on a new business, guys, and let's start off with Star Trek Discovery, which I can never remember. Am I the only one here who likes this show?
It's all right.
You said you hate it, and I'm kind of right there with you.
When I love it, I really love it. Like I love the look of it. I love the cast. I think the cast is fantastic. I think it's my favorite Star Trek. But also I'm not the world's biggest Star Trek fan. And I think that part of what I like about it is that it's doing kind of what J.J. Abrams' Trek wanted to do, which is like, big actiony rethink, but it's not as stupid. But then sometimes it is as stupid.
Sometimes it is stupid.
I was just gonna say,
I hate the mushroom drive so much.
the mushroom drive is such a weird premise to try and take seriously.
So
The
I
ship
don't
is fucking sailed. It's so baked into the show, and it drives me insane.
I don't mind the mushroom drive because I like the idea of the sort of teleporting starship. I ignore the fact that it's based on space mushrooms. That whatever, I don't give a shit about that. It's just more gobbledygook for me. So them using the spin, the effect they do to do it is cool. Code Black, I don't care who you are, that's cool.
I swear to God, the noise it makes when they jump is.
I
think it's
love
somebody with their tongue going. Like I think it's.
I love everything about the Spore Drive except that it's based on mushrooms, which is fucking weird.
Also, I hate the big button that says Spore Drive Engage, which they don't need anymore. But in the first season, I was like, "Are you shitting me?" It was as bad as when they had the tardigrade up on screen in the first season with the little TG icon in the upper left. So that
in season 4, I like this far future thing they're doing. I like that basically they've got this drive that in the future nobody else has yet. So they're still like this unique ship. I love when their ship is like something cool, like they're going to send the Discovery out because it's the only one that can get there as quickly. I think that's a really cool little plot device, and I think they've done some good stuff with it. What I don't like is every season, and I like Star Trek having an arc. I'm a Babylon 5 fan. I want an arc. What I don't like is that every one of their arcs has had a disappointing ending, and usually really disappointing. It's either too predictable or so unpredictable as to make no sense. And then like last season, they had this big throwdown fight in the interior of the Discovery, which had like a teleporting elevator. And I'm like, this does not look like it belongs on the inside of the Discovery at all. Like, it feels like someone wrote this sequence and they're like, could that be on the inside of the ship? Sure, why not? Like, there's no consistency.
I spent the last 2 days catching up on all 4 seasons by watching the first couple episodes of each season until I got a feel for what was going on, and then skipping forward because I was like,
texting me to say, like, Les, do I need to care about this? No.
dude, I didn't watch much of season 2. Did they try and do the Klingon shit again?
I don't know.
No, the Klingon shit was, I mean, they did a little bit of it, but I think they recognized early on that was boring.
That was terrible in what I saw in season 1.
Focused heavily. The thing you missed was the big twist is the mirror universe thing, which I think was one of the most interesting things they did.
Yeah, the only thing I missed was the mirror universe, which they explained on the thing, which I'm like, okay, I guess is the mirror universe, but which is I'm assuming is where Michelle Yeoh comes back from, right?
Yes, yeah, she's the emperor of the evil universe.
Right, that's pretty cool.
And the whole thing, like bringing her back is and what they did with her character, that was great. Making Lorca, like the reveal that he was in the mirror universe, I thought was really fun. Like that stuff all worked for me. Seeing mirror universe Tilly, love that. But then they do things that I don't like. Like any of the Klingon stuff is boring. The Red Angel stuff, I love the idea, and then the final reveal of it is predictable and dumb.
Oh, I texted Les. I said, "Hey, did they send the signals themselves from the future? If they did, I'm just gonna fucking skip this because."
I think I messaged back that I don't remember what you're talking about, so I don't think it matters. Just skip forward.
But also, like the bit of them following her into the far future, I really liked because they set up this thing, and people are like, "Well, wait a minute, why is the Spore Drive not a thing if they had it since the time of the Enterprise?" So they sent them to the far future. The technology's lost. It's all classified. I'm like, that's good. That makes sense. But like they do stuff on like second season, all the stuff they did with Enterprise and that cast of the original Enterprise. That was all great. I loved all of that.
They seem to not be able to stick with whatever premise they're trying to do, because like there's the mirror universe thing, and then they time jump.
Mm-hmm.
From what I've seen of the 4th season, which is, it doesn't feel significantly different, even though they're like a couple hundred years in the future, and they keep referring to all their other shit as antiques, and yet no one seems confused. Everyone can work all the machinery, like. You'd figure there'd be a learning curve of like for all these people.
There was in season 3 something.
There was in season 3. Yeah, season 3 they did. Okay. Yeah. Season 3 they did the big upgrade of the ship to bring in the new programmable matter. They pull up and
everybody's
stuff.
like, "Your ship looks like a joke, yo," and like
yeah. They did handle all that. Yeah.
But you're not wrong though. Like this is what drives me nuts, and they're about to do it again in season 4. They're going to introduce a new thing for this season.
Yep.
that is going to supplant the things that they should be wrapping up from previous. Like, they've never dealt with whatever the source thing of all knowledge that they're carrying around that Federation
Right.
doesn't really know about.
Yep.
Deal with that. Or the dilithium thing, which I realize was a Doctor Who subplot that y'all stole somehow, because it turned out that like one kid's feelings blew up all the dilithium in the fucking universe.
Well, also, it's weird because they jump to the future and the Federation is not a thing anymore. And then season 4, Federation is back.
Well, that's
Like-
what the
Well,
whole.
they're
That's
kind of back. They're
that's-
trying to build it back, and I
Yeah.
like that. They've kind of, it took them 4 seasons, but they threw the Enterprise far enough into the future that we're getting the 50s Trek again almost.
yeah,
which
Nick.
is
I'll
cool
say
for
I'll
me.
say this. You definitely missed some stuff because some of your complaints have been answered if you'd watched the actual seasons.
Well, the season
because
3 they dealt with some of that.
Season 3 is all about like trying to build. That's the thing.
But
Season 3
they're
opens.
about to deal with that gravity anomaly instead of
Yeah.
rebuilding the Federation or any of that. I hated that dilithium feeling thing.
I think I was just excited because the time jump thing I thought was interesting. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Up until I see in season 4, like, oh, they finish it in one season, or like, I liked the idea of a lawless universe and that they were the only science like nerds in the galaxy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing, that the whole point of this is that they're supposed to be rebuilding the Federation, which I like because that was the promise of season 3.
You know what? That's why I liked the later seasons. The first couple seasons, it had all the people on the Enterprise being dicks to each other.
Yeah, because the fact that half of them are mirror universe is supposed to be a twist.
Yeah, and
That's
so
what drove me nuts about the first season, was like,
that's why I liked when they jumped to season 3 and everyone else is mean, but everyone on the Trekkie ship is like, are the Trek, like, we just want to learn and discover and all that other bullshit.
I will say that to go back to talk about specifically season 4, which is what we're focused on here. I thought the opening of this season, where we see them, they built the ensemble up effectively. So I actually like all the bridge crew. Like, I really like what they've done with Tilly and with the non-binary character's name I don't know yet, I can't remember yet, and the relationship that character has with Stamets, who is like the grumpy dad, and what they've done with Wilson Cruz's character. I really love the bit where they're going to the station, and Owo, who is like their engineer, is like, yeah, I can teleport us on there if a girl with eye patch can match speed, and she's like, if I can match speed. I love all of them. I don't know all their names, but I like all the characters.
I like Tig Notaro.
She's great.
She's great. Like, I feel like she's the only one that feels like kind of a new Scotty to me, as far as like.
I love Tig Notaro on the show. I like the whole crew too. They're great.
I think I love the new uniforms. I wasn't sure about them. I'm liking Burnham as captain, which that was one of my gripes. It's like, I didn't want to see her as captain. I thought Saru made a more interesting captain.
They spent a lot of time in the other episodes I watched explaining why she cannot and should not be captain.
And that's why the promotion made me so mad. It made no sense. Yeah. But I think the arc they were trying to do was, let's take this character and have her grow until she becomes captain. I'm like, then you spent way too much time taking her knees out at the beginning.
Yeah,
like,
y'all
that's
didn't
what
really
you're
do
doing.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it drives me nuts to know that I know they're going to do this gravity anomaly thing, and it's just going to raise more shit than it beds down.
Yeah.
But I do like the whole crew. I like everything. There are occasionally design choices where I'm like, you did that for show and it's dumb. And like, that's one of the things that I really was like, I get that in Star Wars. Like, okay, in Star Wars, you're just gonna have like laser swords that make no fucking sense as a weapon inside any civilized building. You're just gonna destroy everything in the room. But on Star Trek, I would kind of hope that, like, don't put a big light on it if there shouldn't be one. But book ship, I hate that come apart, come back together thing.
How does that work?
I don't know, and they just show it off. There's so much energy expended. Like, it looks so energy dense to do that. Like, how the fuck is your ship just doing this? And I know it's supposed to just look like way in the future, but it just looks silly to me. And then I really hate like, we got to the future and suddenly all interfaces make, like, does everybody's brain work differently? Like, these aren't mechanical choices. This is like, how much random squiggle do you remember? Like, I deeply hate goo that flows up people's arms to, I don't know. They jumped to the future and upgraded the ship into like dumb CG for me.
So the programmable matter isn't really doing it for you, huh?
No, any more than like, oh my God, is your power in Agents of Shield turning into dust? Holy shit! Every time, like it's
Yeah.
the same. Like the goo is like, we just ran out of CG budget. Okay, cool. I guess the future just looks like blobs.
I think right now I'm in that honeymoon period of like, oh, I really like these characters. I like the moment to moment stuff. But I know I'm gonna be disappointed by the like. I don't care about the gravitic anomaly. I wanted this to be a season of them start doing exploring and science stuff, and they're doing some of it. But it's like the basics of it. The character stuff is good. The moment to moment writing I like, but the overarching stories they're telling are always a little disappointing. And
Mhm.
I it's been diminishing returns. Like I love the first season of this, and then I like the second season a little bit less, and the third season a little bit less. And I always come back to it, and it reminds me of how I was with Walking Dead, where I kept quitting it and coming back. I've never wanted to quit Discovery, except for the fight at the very end last season. But I always feel like, oh, that was disappointing. And then it comes back, and I'm like, oh no, I like this show. And then by the end, they've disappointed me again, and I have to be revamped up to it. So
I think I've had
yeah,
the opposite experience.
It seems like they moved on with like some characters, like Saru
yeah.
is going to be on like on his own planet, but now they've set up like he might be going back to the ship already.
He definitely is. He's going back as a first mate, which I like that dynamic. But
And I like that too, but I'm like, we should give that character more time to not be there, so that like we can miss
yeah,
them in order to cut. At least,
I
again, I can't
guess.
judge it fairly because I've jumped around, and the stuff I've liked, I haven't had a chance for it to be ruined by the finales of any of this.
I also I found Saru's planet super boring, and I hate Feelings Kid. So the less we get of that, the better.
Oh, anything that doesn't deal with the Enterprise, like that's the mistake with the Klingons and everything.
Yeah.
Like, just
Mhm.
focus it on the fucking Discovery, on the ship. Whatever
Yep.
ship we're doing on Star Trek, it just focuses on the ship because everything else falls apart for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, Randy, across the seasons, like season 1 lost me. I didn't finish it out. Season 2, I didn't care about. Season 3, I think was my favorite so far, and I'm really liking where they've got everybody at the start of season 4. Despite I don't think Brennan should be captain, but
Right.
regardless, I like the crew of this ship. I like following this Discovery. And my problem is that at no point have they shown me that they're going to stop doing the things that annoy me about each season.
Right. And that's
It's
where I
Right.
am
like,
too.
you're
Yeah.
gonna do a boring thing I don't give a fuck about. It's how boring is it gonna be to me? Like if it's Klingon season 1 boring, I can't make it through it. But if it's Orion and the Chain, or was that season 3?
That was season 3.
Wouldn't
Yeah,
that
if
be a
it's
great way
them,
to end
okay.
this series though? Is that Burnham would be ended as a captain, and we go from her journey as a mutineer to like all the way back up, and that's her redemption arc, and that's how the last episode would end.
Yeah.
I don't know. It feels weird.
She makes it. I mean, she makes a good captain. The actress is great, and they're selling it. And there is something cool about this being the first Black woman captain of a Star Trek. I mean, that's pretty notable.
You
Sure.
jumped forward into the future and you're still you on the
Right.
show, okay.
Yeah,
Right.
on
Okay,
the
on
show,
the show. I was like, holy shit, Federation.
Yeah.
Like,
No, of the shows, this it's the first time we've had a female Black captain of any of
Okay.
the Star Trek shows.
Unless you count Star Trek Lower Decks with what's her name?
I'd let you lower decks, beat them to it.
Oh, they did beat them to it, didn't they?
I think
Well,
so.
You're late to the
And
party,
Lower
Discovery.
Decks gets
Sorry.
Yeah.
Lower Decks gets the second contact stuff. My favorite part of the first episode back in season 4 was their butterfly people first contact fuck up and saving it. I was like, that feels like classic Trek. I really want to watch a season where the whole
That was
universe is
awesome,
like,
right?
Oh
because
my
the
God,
whole
guys,
universe is like, you can't be this, and the Federation people are like, no, we're like, I really like having a Star Trek show that shows me that wall you run into when you try to be Federation, and the rest of the universe is like,
No, that's
Oh, man.
bullshit.
what are you nerds doing? I loved that.
I agree with you guys in principle, but in specific, I hated that opening. I thought it was too goofy. It reminded me of Abrams' Trek. I hated it so much.
The only thing that bothered me about it was watching it going, oh yeah, this kind of makes me want to watch Lower Decks instead. I don't think Discovery ought to do this then, because Lower
Yeah.
Decks beats you to it.
And that's the thing. I want my Trek a little more serious. I like Lower Decks. I've come to really enjoy it, but I definitely put Discovery above Lower Decks.
See, I'm from the TNG generation where they're fucking with Sherlock Holmes and the holodeck and shit.
Yeah, I just kind of want to go back and watch TNG.
Like I'm cool with the silly shit.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. The thing I like about Discovery is the thing that's also dangerous is that they're a little too self-serious, but they take the thing seriously. And I feel like other than Deep Space Nine, that's not the flavor of Star Trek in general. And I think that's probably why a lot of Star Trek fans don't like this as much, but I do, but I'm not a big Star Trek fan, so I'm not sure why they should be making a show for me. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like
Like,
I know
Randy's
I'm
like, I appreciate it. Not sure why you're doing it.
Not sure why you're doing it, but I'm glad you're doing it for me.
If we come in one week and there's a Star Wars show that I'm like, you guys, you have to watch this.
I'll be like, oh
you know
shit,
they
what'd they
fucked
do?
up. Like, you know
What'd they do
There
wrong?
was for me. Remember the anime one?
Yeah. What did they do wrong that they made a show that Star Wars show that Les loves?
I think how lame is Boba Fett might be the
You should watch that. I'm definitely interested to hear your reaction to it. And it's only like 15 minutes long, I think.
kind of want. I mean, Disney's got like a bag of money laying around that nobody's even counted somewhere. I would love them to just throw it at two guys who hate Star Trek. I mean, who hate Star Wars, and then just let them make like for every assembled that comes out, there's like Ben and Jeff think Star Wars is stupid, and here's like 15 minutes of why.
Statler and Waldorf do the
Basically,
Star Wars.
but with Disney access. Like putting the mic in somebody's face of like, excuse me, sir, why was that scene stupid? The name of your character was what? Nope, please say it again. Nope, that's it. No other questions.
Blah blah blah. That doesn't sound like a real name.
So you're from Calamar, Calamari? Okay, yeah, we're out. That's it.
All right, so let's jump over and talk about the other space show of the week, and that is Cowboy Bebop, the live action on Netflix. This has been very divisive online. Some people just hate it with a white hot passion, and we're talking about how trashy it was. And
you could have laid a Vegas bet on the division of this a year ago when they announced it.
Well,
like,
the thing is, like the trailers were so
I feel like
good.
The people that knew they were gonna hate it a fucking year ago.
Yeah, I fucking loved this, and maybe it's because I've watched in hyping myself up for this. I went back and watched 6 episodes of Cowboy Bebop the anime, and I reminded myself, oh yeah, I like this. It's fine, but I don't really like anime. And this is basically taking everything I like about Cowboy Bebop and making it in a format I wanted to enjoy. Which also,
take
again,
the Speed Racer
Discovery
movie treatment and do Cowboy Bebop. I'm there for it. Yeah.
But like Discovery, I'm not sure they should have made the show that way. Like, I mean, maybe it's a fool's errand to try and pursue the anime fans with a live action show. Maybe that's just you're never going to get it right. Maybe you should try to reach the new audience. But I'm like, you made an anime show for me. That's great. I'm not sure you should have done that.
So this is going to seem like a non sequitur, but Randy, did you ever see the Howard Stern biopic Private Parts from back in the 90s? Remember that?
Oddly enough, I did. Yes.
Okay. So there's a scene in it where Paul Giamatti is his producer and is super mad. Like, we got to fire him. People hate him. Look at all the hate mail I get. And the person who actually looks at the metrics of how the station runs is like, so the average fan of his listens for an hour, and the average person that writes his hate mail listens for 2.
Yeah.
And so like I feel like it's like thank you for smoking or something, like we misunderstand what the point of this was. Netflix never made this show for people to like it. They made this show because they knew that half the internet would be so angry that the other half would go, "What are you mad about? All right, I'll watch an episode."
Or they're like the anime fans watching it and they're like, I hated this show. I watched it 5 times and I still hate it.
Yep, I picked it apart so I can tell you specifically what I hate about every minute of it. Yeah, no, totally. And Netflix is laughing like, oh, it's terrible. I'm so sorry we did that. Our bad.
So, Les, am I correct to say that you enjoyed Cowboy Bebop?
So I'm with you on the show. I remember this being an anime that was super cool, but I've seen several episodes of the original Cowboy Bebop multiple times, and I couldn't tell you what connects any of them or who Spike is. I forgot that.
That's because they're very minimalist.
Yeah. By minimalist, there's not a story there. It's just style and jazz and like some.
You're not actually wrong. Like there's a lot of mythos and atmosphere, which is why I think people are mad. Is that this show is goofy?
Yeah.
And it's weird because most anime I would be like, oh yeah, that's the tone. But for Cowboy Bebop, it was like, oh, this was supposed to be a lot more show don't tell, and everyone is telling me exactly what they feel all the fucking time.
Except unless you're already in the bag for anime, that like, oh, we're getting by on style, and it's just fucking baffling to everybody else. And the general look at like, I feel like there's a reason why the majority of the public is like, there was an anime? Even though this is a legendary anime. If you've ever heard of any, it's like Akira. Like if you've heard of any televised anime, you've probably heard of Cowboy Bebop. And yet there's this huge audience for this live action version. And unless you're already an anime fan, it's still goofy. Like
Yeah.
Cowboy Bebop is fucking goofy. It just, I mean, there's a data dog. Like I feel like unless you're already in the bag for anime goofy stuff being cool and taking the slow falling rose at the end of the episode seriously,
Yeah.
which I can't because I didn't know if that was supposed to be important because almost every anime ends with a non sequitur sad song.
Not as bad as Young Justice.
No, it's not Twin Peaks crying bad, but
And JoJo's ends, in fairness, with an REO Speedwagon joint. So
no, yes, it's a yes song.
oh, you're right. It's yes. I confused the two bands because they're pretty much identical.
But I didn't mind this, but again, it's not. I'm still not 100% on it. I mean, like,
I dug it because it felt like a continuation of like the Firefly universe.
so this feels like Speed Racer Firefly. Like,
That's what I was like. I like this as because it's a
Yeah.
colorful sci-fi show that they aren't really doing anymore.
Yeah.
Even like Star Trek was like not as colorful as I wanted it to be,
Yeah.
as far as dark grays and blues.
Yeah.
So Nick, I did want to I want to hear what you think because I know you are more of an anime fan than Les and I, which is an understatement.
It's a pretty good show. It's a pretty terrible adaptation of that anime.
That's kind of what I figured it was.
So the things they change sound like good ideas. And they're the only things I really don't like in that they make Julia, Spike's love interest, and Vicious, the bad guy, actual characters in the show.
Yeah, I liked that.
And they're the worst part about it. And Randy, you're wrong. But
oh no, I like that whole story. I mean, yes, Vicious is over the top, but it's an anime villain. I'm fine with that. And I like the twist.
But that's
of Julia
where
at
the
end.
problem comes in as far as in the regular story, they're more like a mythos of like Julia is this unattainable. It's like the Why the Last Man problem of showing the girl in the beginning episode all that time.
Yeah.
Like, no, she's supposed to be an unattainable, like not an actual character, but like a thing that the character wants to attain.
Yeah.
So having her be an actual character and make really stupid decisions and stuff that doesn't really make sense if she's actually in love with Spike and not with Vicious. And also you have to listen to a bunch of people call themselves vicious and fearless a lot and not laugh. And that's hard to do. Like,
this seems not even remotely weird by anime standards for me.
But
So
except
I guess that didn't bother me.
I mean, they are characters in the show. Like, you just don't have as much of it, but you still have to listen to people be called those stupid names.
Yeah, in the last episode where they just call him Vicious, and I thought that was his villain name. Like, I thought that was his villain. Like this show, it shows no, his dad named him Vicious. What?
But it would have driven me insane to watch a live action show where, like, a couple of the main driving plot point characters are just like alluded to because something outside of this show that was really cool happened, and it would have been great if you'd seen it. Like, because I hate that about anime.
And then you realize that Julia and Spike have only spent one night together, and it's this epic love story. I'm like, oh, this Disney bullshit. It's really stupid, but other than that, the things they changed with Faye, I really liked. I like Faye's.
Faye is fantastic.
Is really cool as far as this. They get the spirit of the character right, but they give her a little bit of a different personality as far as really integrating her as part of the crew very fast.
I really like how it felt more believable than most crew put together shows or movies. How she runs into them again and how annoyed they are with her, and like her stuck without a ship needing to track these people, and like, hey, it's good, I found you guys.
I love all three of the main characters. I thought their Faye Valentine is my favorite. I thought John Cho did a great job as their version of Spike, and I love Jet Black. I think his exasperation with Spike is hilarious.
The dude who plays Jet Black, his voice, like, it sounds exactly like the anime character, like the voice actor. It's weird.
I wasn't terribly surprised, but I was a little bit baffled by the pushback on the original casting of that dude. Of like, they cast a black guy, and like a portion of the internet flipped out, and other portion of the internet was like,
his name's Black.
His name's Jet Black, man. Yeah. Also, I really liked the bit with Faye's the woman they got as Faye's mom. I thought that was a pretty good episode. That was really good. That was some of my favorite stuff. This show does well by its older white ladies because the woman they cast as mom I thought was also pretty great.
Yes, and that effect of people turning into trees was just the
really
right
well
level of gross and cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just enough blood and splatter. It was really good.
Also, turning the one guy Gren, making them non-binary, I thought was an interesting choice. And I liked that character. I like his old buddy whose name I don't remember her, but she in a in the '90s version she'd been played by Pam Grier. I liked that character. Like I like all of that stuff. The Jet goes back to his cop roots. I thought was a really fun story, even though yes, 100% predictable. You're like, dude, it's your partner. How do you not?
Right.
That's the guy who shot you.
I'm
Like, how do you not? He shot you. You know, he's the one who shot you. Like,
Also, why is the lighting different on this entire planet? Like,
yeah,
what?
yeah.
This
no,
like it
their
looks like a
Sin City
noir story
episode.
for no reason.
Yeah.
There's also that funny bit where he's like on a video call watching his daughter's dance recital while Spike is getting his ass kicked. In
I
the
don't get how
background.
that technology works at all. Can you not hear stuff while you're doing it?
Well, it's funny because he's waving at the baffled storekeeper. I was cracking up. That scene was one of my favorite funny scenes.
But you could also project yourself in a convincing way to trick other people, I guess. It's
Sure, yeah,
I didn't know how that worked. But I like the ships. I like the
yeah. Ships are good.
designs.
Yeah,
And the costuming is I'm glad that they actually went with all the coloring and stuff.
yeah.
And that they kept certain things like how they learn about the bounties is from a TV show.
I
They,
love
like,
that they did
They
that.
kept
I'm
that
so
the same. Holy
yeah.
shit.
that's one of my so it's so weird, it's awesome. Like that bounty hunting is such a common practice that they have a television show just
Yeah.
televising the bounties that have come in and not and who's available.
I also love all the satellite ads and shit that like Faye
Yeah.
flies past and stuff.
we
at various
we
points.
talked about Firefly, but this reminds me a little bit of Max Headroom.
Mhm.
It's got that surreal
Mhm.
sci-fi weirdness, and I like that too.
I'm enjoying this more and more with each episode. I'm not completely done with it, but it's just gotten better and better for me as I've gotten.
The
I
most
really
Cowboy
liked it.
Bebop it felt to me actually was when Faye and Spike spend an entire episode on the Bebop not doing anything because they can't decide which bounty to go after.
That is one of my favorites.
Yes.
I loved that whole thing.
And I was like, yep, this
Yeah.
nails it. Like this
Nailed
is
it.
the entire energy here.
Yeah.
You were right.
I feel like it does take a couple episodes to really get its feet underneath it. Like I like the early episodes, but when Faye joins the team officially,
Mhm.
that is when things get more interesting and the show gets better and better, I think, as it goes along. Les, do you mind a spoiler about something in the very last episode?
No, I mean I know there's a twist with Julia.
It's not the Julia twist. It's it's Ed showing up.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's already
I
been
have-
spoiled because the internet's mad or not mad. I don't know.
I see
About the
people
casting
griping
of it.
about it like that Ed is too much. I thought it was great. I loved Ed showing up and being just like super annoying and really
Well,
loud.
Out of all the things, they change almost all the characters to be
Yeah.
more three-dimensional.
But Ed is Ed.
And Ed's Ed.
And Ed, they did not change anything at all, which
No.
I thought was a weird take. Like,
Right before the show dropped, I saw articles of like, and Ed's not in the show. We riot.
Yeah,
Ed
yeah.
or we riot. And
Yeah.
then Ed was in the show, and about 2 days went by, and it was like they did Ed wrong.
also, Ein isn't in the last 2 episodes, and that's bullshit. Like, have that dog on screen all the time.
Oh my
that
God, why
dog
did-
is adorable.
Yeah.
Yeah, their
mean-
casting for Ein was great. Like a good dog that looks just like. I mean, corgis look like corgis, but
Yeah.
that's a perfect Ein.
I just need cheddar. I mean, that's all we're doing
Yep.
here. Come on.
And
now.
then the one also thing they interpreted exactly was
It's
the
not Ein, that's just
top
some
hat
common bitch.
killer that fucking has a force field. And I was like, that? You did that one? Why? That doesn't come off even in an animated thing very like it comes off as like kind of Hannibal Lecter-y, like he's creepy. In this
Yeah,
live
yeah.
action, it's just I don't know what it is. It's real weird.
Also, he's got clown makeup, so that's a thing.
And then they have what was it? Like, one of the characters isn't actually like the black guy with the afro, like he's in the
Yeah.
anime. They actually make him. No, he's a white guy wearing a face.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
No, he's a black guy wearing a face. He's a
No,
black
he's
guy
a-
wearing a white guy face.
or is he a white guy wearing the black guy face? He dies with the white guy face, and he keeps the white guy face on.
Oh, I thought he was a black guy wearing the white guy face.
Les, was it which offensive is this? Like, which side of this are we offended or not?
I don't think I've gotten that far to see that part.
No, that's early on. You're past it.
Is that early on? Am I past that?
That's where they get Ein. That's where they get the dog.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. That's right. Where the guy's got the it like slips at the gas station and shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if that's again. This is like the dogfighting thing. Like, is that still blackface? I would.
I
say
think it's
yeah.
whiteface.
It was like one of
Yeah.
those things. I'm like, are you trying to say something with this? It's a weird change that I don't know if you're what you're trying to. Is it because like it's a stereotypical black guy with an afro and you didn't want to do that, but you also kind of also did it?
Yeah.
And instead it's a white guy wearing his blackface. I'm like, is that better?
Yeah,
What?
I
I
may have misread. I thought he was a black guy wearing a white face. Yeah.
thought so too.
I don't know, man.
At any
I
rate,
thought so too.
I really dug this. I'm hoping that we get a season 2 because I want to see more of their version of Ed.
I
and wanna see
suspect
more
we
of these
will because
characters.
again, it really I don't think has to do with like or not like. It's that everybody has watched a part of it to either to yell about it or to praise it.
Yeah.
I knew like full disclosure, like I'm absolutely can't be fair about this show. I have interviewed multiple times, like half the writing staff on it.
Oh, that's true. I mean, we didn't even talk about it. It's Javi.
So it's Javier Grillo-Marxuach.
It's a lot more
and-
middleman than it is Cowboy Bebop.
It's Vivian Lee from Dark Crystal. It's Josh
Andre-
Applebaum
yeah,
and
Applebaum
Andre
and Nemec.
Nemec and Scott Rosenberg, who did Happy Town and a bunch of other more popular things.
Well, yeah, also Mission Impossible and Alias.
Yes, as well as the recent Ninja Turtles movies.
That's that thing where he's listening with his recital and there's a fight scene going on in the background is ripped right from an episode of Middleman.
Yeah.
I reached out to Javi when they dropped the intro, when they teased the intro a month ago.
Yeah.
And it looked exactly like perfect like the anime.
Yeah.
And I'd emailed Javi of like, hey, that looks great. Congrats on how
Yeah.
well that intro turned out. And he was like, I may have been aware of Cowboy Bebop a little bit when I made Middleman. Yes. Because it's very much like the Middleman intro. Like you realize that the Middleman intro is cribbing from Bebop.
Yeah, for sure.
When you
For
see it.
sure.
Or at least style-wise homage.
I really enjoyed this. I'm super happy to get more of it, and I don't care whether it's like the anime at all. So it did not weirdly.
Yeah, that didn't bother me at all.
I'm good
I'm
with a
enjoying
season
it.
2 as long as they drop Julia and Vicious, which I don't think they're gonna do.
Well, Vicious is gone, right? I mean,
No,
I don't
he's
know.
in that fucking another spoiler, but he's in that fucking ground with Julia, just
Oh,
keeping him a
okay.
prisoner, which means
Alright.
that he's gonna break out in next season.
I'm up for more of it. I'm good with it.
I think most people are just disappointed in the fact that this was one of the most subtle storytelling in anime as far as story structure goes, and they made a very non-subtle live action series.
I get that, and it's a fair complaint.
It's like making a Power Rangers version of the Marvel universe. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, like I say, I get it. It's a fair complaint. It's kind of like how I feel about Venom and those kind of things. Like, these may be fine for some people, but I'm not the target audience.
Yeah, and
But-
I'm like, oh no, I like these, and it's
Yeah.
I like it. It's not. I see it for the original show that it is,
Mhm.
and where it's weakest is actually where it's trying to crib from the anime. It really should take less stuff and actually just go its own way and do its own shit.
And I suspect we'll see more of that in the second season.
I would really, yeah, I was kind of hoping that a second season might free them from the we got to go frame by frame through this like Watchmen.
Yeah.
I think it's time to blow this scene. Get everybody in the stuff together. Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's jam.
All right, let's jump over and talk about, I don't know if we're considering it dessert or not. I sure as hell do. That is the first 3 episodes of Hawkeye on Disney Plus, which is half the show. It's only 6 episodes.
What?
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's a 6-episode series.
Motherfucker, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm not happy about it either because I want
No,
more of
this
this
is-
because I loved the first 3
Son of a
episodes.
bitch.
No, there's no way that they land this satisfactorily for me.
Yeah,
But
not in 6.
They're calling it a 6-part event, and I don't know if Jeremy Renner was busy, he's flipping houses or something, but
He said he wanted to spend more time with his kids, I think.
he's got to do his podcast.
it's podcast. I am, for those who don't know, Hawkeye is one of my absolute favorite characters in comics.
No shit.
I like the purple costume version of him. I like the guy who was kind of a screw up, who became like the leader of the West Coast Avengers and married Mockingbird. Like the 80s version of Hawkeye is my favorite version, and that version of Hawkeye has been dead for 30 years.
Yeah.
Like
They do the traditional Marvel movie thing of showing you the costume that you would want from the comics
Yeah,
and then laughing
yeah.
at it on screen.
yeah. So like I
So that you know
love
you've
that
done.
version of Hawkeye, but like even the Matt Fraction, David Aja that this is so heavily based off of, that took several issues for me to warm up to, even though it's a great comic, because it's not my Hawkeye. I don't like him as this big screw up. And definitely was not super into the Ultimates version where he had a secret family and he was like a killer. But they've taken all that stuff and made him the Jeremy Renner version of Hawkeye, and somehow I like that version of the character, even if it's
Well,
not
they've done what
my
Marvel
Hawkeye.
does. They've taken the best elements of all those stories and mixed them together and kind of he ends up having a secret family, but he's still a family man. He's a regular human being. Like
Yeah.
he's the regular guy of the Marvel universe, and I like that. That's what the movie. That's what this is
But-
selling us on.
But he's not the regular guy. He's been a super spy for 20 years.
In perspective, Randy, he's got ear damage, which
He's
Yeah,
like
closer to
okay.
a regular soldier.
does
He
does
views
the
himself as
Hulk
a
have
SEAL.
arthritis? Like he has regular person problems.
I get that. I'll say this though, Nick. You know that the ear damage thing is from the comics, right? Like
Yeah.
and like that's an 80s thing that they did away with and then brought back, and I'm glad they did because I think
No, I like it.
Well-
I forgot it was a thing because they haven't used it in a long time. But
Yeah.
it's such a great little thing that makes his character so much more textually real. As
Well-
far as like, I'm a dude with a bow and arrow. Yeah, all these explosions or whatever, they do damage. Like
See, and that's not the part that gets me about it, because I am not I want my superheroes realistic. I don't give a shit. I don't want my superhero realistic. And so a guy like this would get a hearing damage. I don't none of that bothers me. But what I love is the representation of it. Like, we've got a deaf superhero, and then in the new episode, we've got a badass super villain-esque who
Mhm.
is not only deaf, but also is like missing part of her leg and is just an awesome badass. And I'm like, representation wise, I love what they're doing here. I love
yeah,
to see
and a one-eyed dog.
and a one-eyed dog.
I love Pizza Dog.
Their pizza dog's great. I mean, we want to talk dog. There's probably a sub show to be done about dog casting, because Ein and Pizza Dog, there's something to getting the right dog for a show.
They nailed
and-
this dog. This dog is cute and sad looking
Yep.
at the same time.
They also, Kate Bishop, played by Haley Stanfeld, is fantastic.
Oh
So
well,
she carries
Marvel
the first two
Marvel
episodes
nails
for
it
me.
at casting again. Shock me.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
Like, she's great.
when she's on screen in the first two episodes, it worked for me.
Yeah.
The first two
the
episodes,
roughest
it
part-
took through episode 3 before the show really clicked.
I
for
think
me,
me
which
and
is
Les
why
have
I'm
a
really pissed it
same
ended at 6.
idea with the opening being the roughest part, as far as the little girl
All the
actress.
shit with his well, hey, the
Oh.
little girl, they're like, mommy, daddy. It was fucking horrible. Like,
It's-
I
So it's
dialed
got
that
good.
Shane kid back.
You mentioned that last week, Nick, when you were talking about TV Diaries, and I actually disagree with both of you. I get where you're coming from, but
She's too much.
the bit where she sees Hawkeye and like imprints on him, I thought that was really well
Oh, that
done.
all
I
worked.
thought,
Sure,
Yeah.
7 seconds of that
But
was
her
really
running
cool.
around screaming mommy was like, the director of that episode should have told that kid to pull it back a bit. Like, it was just
I get
goofy.
that.
And
I
then
get that.
at the funeral, like, Vera Family,
Firmignia.
Yes.
Yeah, whatever.
she's an amazing actress, and no one can make this scene work. When the kid, like, the turn from like, but what if they come back? Well, they won't. It's fine. And then the immediate, like, I need a bow and arrow. Like, there
Yeah.
had to be a more.
Oh,
I
that
know there had to be a
I-
better way.
They're
to
trying to
handle
do 30 or 40 minutes of character development in 5
like,
minutes, and it's
And are we
like,
supposed to really pretend that? Okay, are we supposed to pretend that people don't, or at least that she hasn't even put it together that he's fucking Ronin?
why would they? Why would they think he's Ronin?
No, like, she hasn't.
But why would she?
because
Why would
he's
she think?
Oh my god! I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, this keeps following him around. He's the only one that cares about the suit. He clearly knows the person that. So someone with an amazing superhero skill set that I know personally and only I know. I was there when he died. Black Widow. Like,
Les, you're
so-
forgetting that when they put on a different costume, it's impossible to tell them apart.
like, I get the villains maybe not thinking that he's somehow fucking connected to this.
Oh,
but
no,
at this point, she doesn't. And
No,
it drives,
I mean,
it's driving me
I
insane.
understand that she doesn't, because she thinks Hawkeye is awesome, and I don't think she wants him to be a vigilante.
That's exactly right. She's like, why would you give up being Hawkeye? She's like, he's Hawkeye. Why would he not want to be? Why would he not be Hawkeye? And so that's a blind spot. But also, like, guys with martial arts powers are a dime a dozen in the Marvel universe. It makes far more sense. We don't know. It makes far more sense to think that Black Widow was Ronin than to think that Hawkeye was Ronin.
The reason that this bothers me is because I had completely forgotten Ronin existed in the MCU. I don't know him from the comics. So at the auction, when they brought the suit out, I texted Nick, did I miss a moment in this episode? Am I supposed to fucking know who Ronan is or why that
Man,
suit matters?
that's
And he's like,
huge.
that's what Hawkeye did. I was like, oh, yeah,
That's what he was
that
doing
chunk,
when his
Yeah.
family was dead. He
that's
was
that chunk
murdering
of
bad
Endgame that
guys.
I did not care about at
No.
all. Because, like, I don't care. I mean, I'm sorry, Jeremy Renner's Hawkeye is so boring to me. And so, like, when he shows up to do the suit, and I was like, oh, okay, I don't really remember any of this, but obviously the dude chasing the suit has something to do with the suit. And all the criminals are like, why are you coming after this? You tell us why you're here. Like, oh my God, you fucking idiots.
Oh man, I thought
That
episode
dude that's
3
roughly the same height as your assassin that fights with the Avengers.
Well, no, what his average height. He's not super tall.
Short.
He's not super,
I'm sorry, you could pick Jeremy Renner out of a room.
I don't
No,
know.
Tom
Like a
Cruise is
Tom
6
Cruise
feet tall,
comes in
Les.
a fucking ninja outfit. I'm
I,
like, dude, it's Tom Cruise.
I guess on my suspension of disbelief, none of this. It
That
doesn't
drove me
register for me at all.
insane.
I'm like, yeah, of course they wouldn't think he'd be Ronan.
Also, the tracksuit mafia. I don't think they're playing with a full deck of cards.
That's actually true.
Now that I
yes.
bought. So when Echo shows up and they're still like, we don't get it. You tell me what happened to Ronan. Like, well, I watched him die, but I'm the only one who did, and Black Widow killed him.
Yeah.
Like,
What?
Yeah.
okay, well, we're just gonna let you go and not worry about it. I mean, that's not what they do, but like,
No.
it was a very like, they don't jump to any level of suspicion that the
Mhm.
only like living witness to the person's death might.
Well,
No,
the
the dude-
show is meant to be lighter. It's a Christmas family type thing. Meant to be like, that's why Kate Bishop has such a fangirl energy that I really like.
Yeah.
And I think
Haley Stanfield's.
I can't wait
she's
for her
owning
and
it.
Kamala Khan to team up.
Yeah, that's gonna be great.
That's gotta be a thing in the new Avengers.
So I'm gonna speak in defense of Jeremy Renner because I think a lot of people are like,
I
he's
will
the
also
problem
speak
here.
in defense of Jeremy
But-
Renner.
I think he's doing a great job here playing the sort of weird world-weary spy dad. He's like, I'm not even supposed to be here. I was supposed to be retired. I was supposed to be done. And then my fucking best friend got herself killed. And then this kid stole my costume. He's like, I want to just have Christmas with my fucking family. I love that energy.
Yeah,
And
no, he
the
plays
moment-
dude tired of his career better than any actor I've seen recently. And I think it's real.
The moment in episode 3 where his kid calls and she corrects him, he's like starting to talk to his wife, and then she corrects him. He's like,
Like,
no,
little
it's
kid.
your kid.
Yeah.
And we see that bit. I thought Renner played that beautifully. Of the like
Mhm.
when the kid says, "I understand if you can't come home." Oh, my heart just tore. I'm like, oh, that feels like the worst for him because it's basically the kid telling him, "We know you're gonna fuck up." I mean, the kid's saying it in a kid way, but the kid's basically saying, "We know you're not going to come home for Christmas,
I'm
and that's
giving
what
you
I
the
expect,
out,
and we'll
Dad."
be fine
Yeah.
with it." And just the look on he sells. He doesn't look on the face of like, "Oh shit, my kids don't think I'm going to be there for them, and they're right, and I got to fix this." And Kate realizes in that moment that she like there's so much great little acting going on in this because she realizes, "Oh shit, my little fun fangirl episode is ruining someone's life." I love
Yeah.
that moment so much.
And now Renner does. I mean, I like him as an actor. He does really well in these moments. But I think the kids all play better over the phone. That dinner table scene hurt. I appreciate
The kids aren't actors. None of those kids are actors. They're like
the
the
Hawkeye's
daughter-
family thing works as a idea. Like
Yeah.
it's much better that when they get fucking dusted in the first couple minutes,
Yeah.
or are just a secret family in Avengers.
Yeah.
the daughter is the one who works. She's the standout. But
Oh
one
no,
of the
no.
at least
The Russo's kid. Oh,
Yeah.
I can't.
I think
she's got
is she the
big
Russo's kid?
Godfather 3 energy for me. Of like, I know your dad made this movie, but God,
Oh, she's the only one of those kids that I think is actually acting. The other two,
I'd say she's the
just-
best of the group. But
I think she's
don't
the
like
best of the
anybody
group,
in
and
the family.
yeah,
it's one of those child actor things of like, oh yeah, this is what child acting used to be before we had
Yeah.
like a spoiled with a bunch of good ones.
yeah. No, I'm not saying she's great. I'm saying she's the best of the three.
Also, I love the musical Avengers musical.
Oh, that's the best. thing
Oh
they've
my
done so
god,
far.
killed
Fucking
me.
hilarious.
Yes.
I'd spend serious money to go watch that on Broadway right now.
I would watch the shit out of Rogers the Musical, absolutely. And I loved his reaction to it of like, oh my god, well you look good, do I?
Also, I love Ant-Man's. He's like Ant-Man.
He wasn't even
there.
That wasn't even there.
Speaking
I
of,
loved that.
they're doing a lot of riffs off the comics, but they're also doing their original stuff. I'm pretty sure the Pym particle arrow was invented here, and I fucking loved it.
That was great. I loved that. I also
So
love
good.
seeing Hawkeye do trick shots that like you just can't do. Like
Yeah, the Echo fight, the fight against the Tracksuit Mafia, where he's like breaking out of there and just shooting people with it. That was some of the best action scenes they've done.
yes. Well, so episode 3, I enjoyed 1 and 2, but they both had chunks where I was like, this isn't working at like an Iron Fist corporate plotline level. Like, am I
Oh,
supposed
wow.
to pretend that the mom is not the
Yeah.
is not going to be the villain? And like the whole sort. I also
The
don't
mom
understand.
step-dad storyline is like, wow, this is really obvious.
I spent the
I
whole
love
first
their
episode back not understanding what, like, her dad's been dead from New York for
Yeah.
years because she jumped to a teen, right?
yeah.
And
It's like
her
10
mom,
years.
like, she clearly knows Jack because they, like, he walks into the room and they say, "For like, oh, it's Jack." Like, this is obviously some level of family friend, and her reaction to, like, I know it's an engagement and that's a little big and stuff, but it's been like a better part of a decade, 5 years to a decade.
Yeah.
Your mom
But
can't have a person.
but here's the thing, like
It's a Disney show, Les. Stepdads are fucking evil.
But also they set up
that's just how it works.
They set up very clearly in that early sequence you guys hated that she loves her dad and she doesn't like her mom. So the fact that she lost her dad and now she's got to deal with
Well,
this
she likes the
dickhead in her
mom.
life.
No, but
She
so they
likes her
set that up. But
okay.
then they have the funeral scene where the mom hugs her and says, "No, I mean, we're going to keep you," and it looks like they're bonding. And then we jump forward
Oh, I
in
didn't
time
get
and
that.
show. Yeah, they did a whole funeral scene where I was like, and her mom hugs her and says, "You know, we're going to be safe and everything's fine." And now it's with your mom now. And then they have her talk about their interaction about busting and grounding her over the tower falling.
Yeah.
Her mom's reaction to that was very loving parent, considering you collapsed a building.
I guess I did not see that.
And then she takes the trophy from her and is like, "I'll go put this in the trophy case." And it's not a.
No,
Your parents putting your trophy, like, cares about what you did, cares about your activities, is going to cover your ass with the school, and all she's asking of you is that you go to a dinner tonight.
Yeah, no, her mom likes her, but I think it's pretty clear that she blames her mom for her dad dying.
Kate out to be a like.
Well, no,
what the fuck?
She's still a kid. She's still got trauma. Like she lost her dad, the person who she cared most about in the world.
I don't think that's what they're trying to come off. I think she's trying to, like, be protective of her mom. That's what I got out of it.
But that's what I was like. I didn't understand that at all. I was like, it's
no.
been
I
years.
think I think that they're trying to sell this mother-daughter relationship, and it's just not working because they're not selling the mom as not evil, like as the bad guy of this.
Yeah,
we'll
I didn't
see.
understand how rich they were. I didn't understand the security company.
I love their swordsman, for the record. I think the guy they cast playing this weird, quirky swordsman, that's a take I like.
But when does he merge with the Dreamstone?
Oh,
though
the Paul F. Tompkins knockoff.
No, he's gonna marry a Kodatai. It's a plant person.
The Mandalorian dude playing Paul F. Tompkins.
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm digging it. I like the energy he's got, and I'll be curious to see.
It took till the third episode for this show to really get going. Like, the first episode was rough for me. Like, Iron Fist
I was
rough.
in love. I was in love with it from minute one. No surprise. I mean, it's right up my alley.
I was lost in the first couple minutes. It really wins me back as soon as Haley Steinfeld is. It's really riding a lot on her charisma. Also, Jeremy Renner, I think, is doing a great job. I love the fucking LARP scene he does.
Oh man, the LARP scene is so good.
That was great.
Considering he could just go in there and kick the shit out of everybody and take his goddamn suit back.
And you see he thinks about it.
He does. And you see him think about it. You see him think
about it. And he's like,
wow, what are the rules? Yeah.
Also, Grills is a great character from the Hawkeye series, so I'm wondering if that was a nod. That's all we're gonna see him. Oh, one more thing that we haven't talked about, and it's pretty important. They need to fucking pay David Aja, because good lord, those credit sequences are his art.
They just animated his art.
Like that.
Only thing that I can say against that,
I think his art was more dun 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 dun.
But the only thing I can say against that is that Image Comics formed in the 90s. This is really known that anything cool you do for Marvel will be put on a t-shirt and you will never be paid.
Well, here's the thing. I'm annoyed at Disney because Disney has the money. They can just fucking pay him. And I think they will.
Should pay him, but I have no reason to believe that David Aja thought he would be paid for this.
I think they're going to keep giving them. I think there's going to be enough pressure that they're going to give him something, just like have him be out there and be like, give them the good guy story. So they can be like, oh yeah, Disney came through for us.
I know Disney was smart. Yeah, I was surprised they took so long to give fucking Scarlett Johansson more money, because it's like, why are you
just fucking pay her? Jesus.
Bad PR is the only thing that frightens you.
Reach into the beanbag you're sitting on and throw money at her.
You know who I'm actually pissed at a little bit more than Disney, because Disney's just being Disney. It's a corporation. Matt Fraction's a consulting producer on this. He never said to them, hey, can you get the person who also did this book with me credit or some money? Like, I understand you're not.
I feel like Marvel's
big
lawyers
Hollywood
went, we
guy.
don't have to, trust us.
But like, he didn't say anything. Like Matt Fraction's being very quiet about all this, and I
Because
feel like
when I've seen that article, I kind of wondered how much and then I saw the ending credits and was like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
I've only read like one trade of this run
yeah,
of Hawkeye, and Jesus, that is
yeah.
the art moving.
It's a lot of that. It's
Well, also, why wouldn't you use that? That's great art.
yeah,
But
yeah,
there's a crazy amount of stories of like Todd McFarlane talking about like, yeah, I drew a bunch of Spider-Man, like changed the way they draw their webbing basically,
yeah,
and will never be paid for any of those
yeah,
fucking t-shirts.
yep,
Like,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
There's a
you
certain.
work for Mouse House.
Oh, and of course, right now, Image is not recognizing the unionization of their own employees, so there's a lot of hypocrisy amongst the comics fans anyway. So yeah, it's one of those things where usually I'm like, yeah, that's beyond my concern as a fan. Like I can enjoy this and know that Disney is fucking over creators because that's what everyone's done to comic creators for the longest time ever, and I
I
can
mean,
still enjoy the shows.
Bob Finger, Kirby,
Yeah,
all of them.
but man, David Aja, they need to fucking pay that dude. That's it is just that's all there is to it.
He can't possibly be asking for like seriously, like
Yeah,
some executive at Disney is sitting in a beanbag chair full of fucking money and they
yeah,
just like throw gold coins at David Aja.
I think it
Like,
might
yeah,
be just that, like what they said, like he doesn't expect money from it just because he's
yeah,
remembers like that's the deal with Marvel,
yeah.
you sold them a piece of art. I
and
feel
yeah,
like
I think like maybe he just never asked, and like it just
Well, no, he tweeted about it.
oh no, he's
okay.
And it
asking
was
now.
he tweeted. They tweeted. They said something about like they should really give artists credit, and he's like, or give us money. So
Or
like
money.
he's very much said, hey, fucking pay me, but in a
Yeah.
sort of playful way, like I don't expect this. But the thing is, like, it makes perfect sense. Disney should do it because it's good PR for them. And what are they worried about? Setting a precedent? They don't have to worry about setting a precedent. They're fucking Disney. They could pay
Yeah.
everyone who's ever worked on this stuff whatever pittance and be fine.
Well,
Yeah.
and I'm sorry, but you could absolutely go to the next person who well, I want to be paid for my stuff. Yeah, well, you're not David.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, like
Dude, look at
that's
the
not a slippery
credits.
slope.
Look at us. It's not. Yeah, it's not a slippery slope.
Yeah, but
So,
they should just pay him just for the PR, and also you will bring I guarantee there is a crop of artists in the next generation who will come to you just because you did that in the papers once.
yep. That's
They'll
it.
remember it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It really takes the tiniest of fucking bones to make artists happy. It really does. Disney could throw them a $20 bill.
because it's only 6 episodes, it's got about 3 more weeks in the news cycle, and then everyone's going to forget about this pay David Aja thing, except for the few people, except for a niche audience that is not big enough for Disney. So
Yeah.
he has about 3-week window to get them to pay him, and I don't know if he's doing as much, but yeah, I feel like they should pay him. I mean, it's very
agree.
clear how big of a reference it was.
I agree. I would not take the bet on them paying him.
So we haven't seen the last 3 episodes, but right now, having seen a year worth of Marvel TV, Hawkeye actually sits as my favorite thing. It's not the best.
Of course it does.
The best thing is probably still Loki, but this sits as my favorite thing because it's a really well done adaptation of Hawkeye. I rate this above Falcon and Winter Soldier, which I also really dug.
I liked Falcon and Winter Soldier a little bit better. The first 2 episodes there wasn't anything as clunky for me as the family, like the whole Kate side of the plot doesn't work for me yet.
Huh. Yeah,
like
and
those cylinders
right
are all misfiring. It'd be
I'm
like
right
if either Falcon or Winter Soldier just didn't, like, if their plot just didn't work.
Yeah,
It's how I feel about this show right now, which puts it above WandaVision's first 2 episodes, but at the bottom of my TV pack.
Yeah.
It would be hard for me to judge since it's not done yet, and WandaVision actually brought itself back, in my opinion,
Mhm.
after like it got itself kind of on track.
It did, although I thought they had an overly CG finale, which is a problem you have
Again.
with a lot of Marvel stuff. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but also it was impressive that it was the first TV finale we saw like that.
Multicolored puffy clouds that are also somehow gray.
Yeah, so I'm hoping for a more realistic, like fist to fist fight for the finale of this. But
Yeah.
I think this one right now sits as weakest start, as far as the Marvel shows go.
Weaker than WandaVision?
Well, I don't particularly mind the whole 2 episode things not really starting, because for me the show doesn't really start until episode 2.
Yeah.
And, like,
I think Les and I were both watching WandaVision.
I guess
what the
it
fuck are you doing?
depends on your definition of how weak structurally it actually
It
is.
wasn't just that; it was 2 solid weeks of people
sitcom
like,
pastiche.
arguing with me that there was incredible meaning in every frame of that.
No, but like it's the first time I've seen some just straight up regular story structure stuff kind of not work in a Marvel
Right.
property as far as
Yeah.
like, oh man, you're not really selling me this mom character like at all. This is really weird.
No, it had it had a Netflix Marvel like Defenders problem for me of like
I've
this
heard
isn't
people
working.
say that, but man, none of the Netflix shows were at the level of this, even at their best,
No,
I don't think.
I would say this is more Guy Pearce in Iron Man 3. Like, okay, you should be cooler than you are, I think.
This will be on dessert for the next 3 weeks. Since they're
We
wrapping
got
it
Marvel
up so
Dessert
quickly.
back.
Marvel Dessert's back.
6 episodes.
It's crazy. I was hoping for 10, but you know,
Just 8.
we get. Yeah. All right. I think that'll do it for us this week. Thank you, Les. Thank you, Nick.
Thanks, Randy.
Thanks, dudes.
And thank you to our listeners. Thank you to our patrons. This is a good reminder. You can go over to patreon.com/TVDudes. Give us $1 an episode. This week, get to listen to us talk about Beverly Hills Cop 2, which may seem weirdly specific, but we're starting our Great Scott marathon. I feel like Kyle should be here for Great Scott.
Right?
But, yeah.
Now we'll bring him back for almost kind of good Scott.
He's the middle Scott. We got Tony Scott, then Kyle Scott, then Ridley Scott.
Mhm.
You're not. Hey, you're above Ridley Scott.
Yeah, for sure.
That's not nothing.
Maybe not his early days, but certainly now. All right, and that's it for us. And until next week,
TV Dudes out!
The TV Dudes is an independently run podcast out of Austin, Texas. We are exclusively listener supported. If you'd like to help us out, go to patreon.com/TVDudes.
You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TV Dudes. All the music for our show is done by our friend and original TV dude Gregory J. Amani Smith.
To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com. I'm Randy Lander.
I'm Les Weiler.
And I'm Kyle Scott.
Thanks for listening.